In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to make sequentially numbered tickets, 8 tickets to a page. This is a project that I used to do in Illustrator. And for many years, I would change the number on each individual tickets, 8 tickets to a page, and make 300 tickets. So I was making 38 Illustrator documents. It took hours of work. And then one day after teaching MailMerge in my class, I thought, wow, I could make a label for a ticket and use MailMerge and add these numbers very quickly. So we need a couple things to make tickets like this. We obviously need an installed version of Word. We need the text that's going to be on the ticket. We need the image that's going to be on the ticket. And in this case, I also added a barcode, which is simply a font that we can use. If you're a student in my class, you'll find all of these instructions in the assignment Making Numbered Tickets. Now, I give you 13 steps to complete this, but if you've only ever done work on MailMerge out of a textbook, this may be a little more complicated. In addition to the visual assets that we need for the ticket, we will also need a table that contains the numbers that we want to put on the ticket. So let's follow my steps that I have here on the assignment, and that will help us step through the process of making these tickets. Once I figured out how to do this, every subsequent set of tickets took me about 5 minutes to make after I made the image for the background. And just a little bit more about why making tickets is very helpful is that we had quite the branding effort with our tickets. The images on the tickets were consistent with the images that were on the poster for the season, and so these things became very recognizable for our customers. The barcodes allowed us to track where the tickets came from that we got back, whether they were tickets sold through local retailers or through skaters or given away at events. Our first step tells us to install the barcode font. I have given students the barcode font here on dafont.com. These are fonts that are shared with a variety of licenses since I'm using this for the instructional purposes. And it's okay to download this and not pay, but if you're going to use this on a regular basis, I encourage that you do donate to the author that makes fonts or other online assets that you use in your daily work. So you would download the font. You'll need to unzip the font in the folder that it's in. I have already unzipped it. Simply right-click on the font itself and choose Install for all users. If you click Install, it'll just install for your account on there. And now I have the barcode font installed on my computer. You can always check and see what fonts you have on your computer by looking in the Windows folder, finding the fonts folder, and there will be a list of all the fonts here. Any font that you open up, it'll show you how the letters, both uppercase and lowercase, numbers, and special punctuation appear. Not all fonts have all of those things. Here's our barcode font, which does have text and numbers, and quite a few special characters that can be represented in a barcode. The next step says to use the MailMerge wizard to create a page of labels. Now, if you're using a Mac machine, you do not have a MailMerge wizard, but you do have all of the tools that come up in the order in the MailMerge wizard available in your toolbar. Just look for the correct tool for the step that we're on, and you should be able to follow along. So I'll start with a blank document, and under Mailings, we see Start MailMerge. We can use the step-by-step MailMerge wizard. We are doing labels, so our first step will be to select labels. Now, if you're on a Mac machine, you'd select labels here from the Start MailMerge. Same thing. Now we're going to create the starting document. And this goes back to our list of instructions. There's a step 3 says we're going to build our entire label in the first label position, which is what we're going to do, but we're going to use the provided label specifications, which are right here. I've given you in an image how the label should be set up. Well, I have a big enough screen here. I think we can have. To change our label settings, we're going to go to Label Options here in this setting. We want to make our own label. You can see that if you pull down label vendors, you can find all sorts of labels that companies create. Avery, of course, being one of the most common ones. But we aren't using those. We're going to make our own new label. You can see here, this image is what we want to make look like this image, and these are all our settings. So we can give our label our own name. I called these Southshire tickets 8 because they were tickets for Southshire Roller Derby, and there were 8 tickets on a page. For now, you can just go ahead and copy my data. I'm going to enter these in here. And after I get the numbers in, I'll talk a little bit more about what they mean. But you can also see what they change as we enter things in here. I noticed vertical pitch is grayed out. That's because I haven't entered the number of tickets per page with number down still being 1. I didn't have any adjustments for the vertical pitch. Now I can adjust that to 5.5. Excellent. So that looks like what I'm working with here. There's a little space in between each ticket. I just used a ruler after folding a piece of paper to decide how big I wanted things to be. I gave a 0.38 top margin, a 0.38 side margin for each label. Vertical pitch, meaning I'm going to use 5.5 inches of an 11-inch piece of paper. I have 2 vertically on an 11-inch tall piece of paper, so half of 11 is 5.5. My horizontal pitch is 2. I have an 8.5-inch wide piece of paper. I'm going to have 4 tickets wide, so that's going to be 8 of the inches, and then I'm going to divide the remaining half-inch up in between them. The label height itself is 5 inches of the 5.5 inches. The label width is 1.75. The number across is 4 and the number down is 2. I'm just using regular letter paper because the paper does go vertically, not in landscape for this particular label that I'm making. And the page width and height, which are grayed out there based on the paper size I chose, those are correct. I can say OK. And now it's saved this product number in here for under the vendor of other and custom. And I'm going to say OK. That will actually save in my Word application. We're done with our label setup. And the next instruction is to insert the provided background image for the background of the label. So this is one of the processes in Word that I like to see non-printing characters. So I'm going to turn those on. We can actually see the boundaries of the 8 tickets here on the page. There's a new paragraph mark. These little circles with feet on them kind of indicate the boundaries of the ticket itself. So we want to make sure that we put the image here. Now let's take a look at the picture that we're going for and the layout that I chose. Actually put the image upside down, and the ticket number goes this way across with the barcode at the very end. So the barcode's actually right side up. And that will look right when we cut these tickets apart. You should have the ticket saved somewhere. Here's an image of what that ticket image in the background looks like. It's an image that I made in Illustrator while I was making the posters. Odds are, if you're not an Illustrator user, but you are in charge of asset creations for your business or organization, you're going to be pulling in all this information from other people. Other people will write the copy. Other people will make you your images. And your job will be to make the tickets and get them off to the printer. Here's our Word document. So we're just going to make one ticket. We need to insert an image, the picture. I happen to have this saved on my desktop, which is where I save a lot of temporary stuff. Now, I want the ticket to be the other way, or if we want, we can leave it this way and work with the ticket right side up. It's up to you. It's very easy to rotate an image. It's here in the toolbar with rotate. We actually would want to rotate it. I would just maybe rotate it twice, and that would get it upside down. I'm going to undo that because I just think for this first time through, it's going to be easiest to look at this picture right side up. So there is our one ticket on here. Our next thing is to use a text box and put the text in that we downloaded. So here's the text that was given in the assignment. It's just basically the information about the event itself. It's typical stuff you'd put on a ticket. So I'm going to use Control-C to copy that. I'm going to go back into Word. A couple of things I want to do. I want to make sure that this ticket is fixed on the page. It's not going to move around when I go and put text in there. So I'm going to use the layout options for the image. I'm going to select that it's going to be behind the text, and I'm going to choose that it's a fixed position on the page. And that should help me keep it from moving around. When I add that it's a fixed position on the page, it puts this little anchor here, showing where I have added the image. So I'm going to click in the space over the ticket, but not select the ticket itself, and I'll insert text box. And we can just do a simple text box. I will paste my text in there. I need that text box to be turned to 90 degrees. I'm holding my shift key to help constrain where the text box can be, and I will move this around and resize it so it fits in this space like I want it to. And then I'm going to do some formatting. So I'm going to select all the text in here and center it, because I believe I had everything all centered in my original ticket. Now it turns right side up while I'm doing this. The Southshire Battle Cats versus Shoreline Roller Derby. I would really like to be bold, but I'd also like it to fit all in one line. So I'm going to go ahead and reduce this size a little bit and see. And I'm also going to get rid of that paragraph mark that is sitting after the Battle Cats. A triple click helps me select the whole line. And there we go. That's the largest I can get on there. Now, I don't really want all these enters in here. So I'm going to select everything in here, and I'm going to adjust some line spacing. Looks like this line here with the Battle Brats, I might want to make a smaller font so it all fits on one line. These are things you just kind of have to tweak and play around with. See, this ages is kind of widowed. Let's move that down to smaller font. It's not super important. And if that all now fits on my ticket. I could play around with this a little more, add some more bold if I wanted to, reduce some spacing in between the tickets, because I think right now everything is 1.5. Let's make it 1 so it mushes even more. There we are. And now I just have to make a couple adjustments to the text box. I really just want it to be text sitting sideways like that. I don't want it to have a border around it. So we'll go to the Format tab. We want to have no fill so that the ticket image shows through. We don't want to have an outline. So it's just this text. And to be honest, it's still a little bit big for the space. I'd like it to all fit on the yellow. Again, a few more tweaks. And there we have it. We have a text box on there. Now, the last thing I want to do is I want to put my ticket number down here at the bottom. But it's going to be a placeholder, so we're really actually done with creating the ticket. And we will go to selecting recipients. Again, if you are using a Mac or not using the MailMerge wizard, you will have a select recipients tool on your menu bar. Now, we have not created our list yet. Here's where we would go look for the list. Let's go ahead and make a list. Now, you can make a list in anything that can make a table. You can make a table in Word. You can make a table in Access if you know how to use databases. Or you can make a table in Excel. I'm going to make a table in Excel. It's a very simple table. It just has one column. I'll go ahead and open Excel. And I'll start with a new blank workbook. I'll go ahead and save as. I'll put this in my OneDrive folder. And I will call this ticket numbers. Since these were 2017 tickets, I'll just call it ticket numbers 2017, because presumably I'll be doing these every time I have an event. So it's important to make sure your file names are appropriate for your files. A table usually will have a first row in it that describes what's in the column. We're just going to have one column, and it's going to be ticket numbers. It is ideal if we don't put any spaces in here. Let me go ahead and zoom in. I don't know if you noticed, but I had pretty long numbers on my tickets. And this just helped me keep track of the numbers. It's silly to have numbered tickets with like 1, 2, and 3 on them. Having something that looks a little more like a serial number can be handy. Plus, the numbers I used help me identify when I made the tickets. This game was September 23rd, 2017, so I started the ticket number out with 2017, 09 for September, 23 for the month, and then I think I started them out with like some leading zeros like this, 3 leading zeros and 100. And we, here, I'll need to format that as a number. with no decimal places. That may have been too many zeros in there. Let's take a couple zeros out. It'll be happier with that. Now, we can use Excel to autofill numbers for us. So I copied this, I selected the cell, I clicked Control C, I select the next cell, hit Control V, it will paste it down. And then I adjusted this number to be one more. And really I need 1 through 300, so I'm going to change the first one to 101 and this one to 102. Now I do not have to type 300 of these numbers. What I need to do is I need to select these two cells. And you do that by clicking and holding on the first cell while you're in the middle of it and dragging down to the second cell. And we're going to use this lower right-hand square. And you'll notice as I drag that down while holding my left mouse button, I get sequential numbers. And I can keep doing that. I can launch the little number there in the bottom right corner. Change as I move up and down. Although we could probably figure this is going to go to 301. In the cells, it says 400 on my ticket because I started at 100. But that'll go ahead and fill in 300 ticket numbers for me. Just need to make sure that my file is saved. Since I'm using OneDrive, I have autosave turned on, so I don't actually have to do anything more. I have 300 numbers. If you want to do 1 through 300, you're welcome to do that. It doesn't matter what number you want to put on your ticket. We were shooting for sequential numbers, and so Excel helps us to write those quickly. We can close this. Back in Word, we need to select the Browse button and navigate to where we saved the spreadsheet file. Ticket numbers file. It found some data on sheet 1, which is the only worksheet in the spreadsheet. And we do have this check that says first row of data contains column headers. And that's correct because I wrote the words ticket number on there. And here we can see ticket numbers at the top and all of the ticket numbers that I wrote in the spreadsheet. So great, that's exactly what I wanted. So we have loaded that recipient list here. Next, we're going to arrange our labels. All I want to do is put the individual number here. We're not going to use address, block, or greeting line. We're just going to use this more items. But I need to have my cursor where the ticket number is going to be. So I need to make sure I'm inside the ticket, and I want to be after my text box. So I'm also going to put this in a fixed position on the page, and we can go ahead and let this be in front of the text, just so we know that it's in front of our ticket. Now when I hit the Enter key, and this is probably not the best way, but I have yet to actually be able to make a ticket align to the bottom, even though I ought to be able to. So I'm sure someone can do this better than I can. I want this ticket number to line up centered on the document, so at this point where I can put the ticket number, I'm going to hit the centering button. I'm going to choose more items. And the field that I want to add is ticket numbers, and I'll select Insert. And we'll hit Close. Before we move on from this step, we're going to want to use the button that says Update All Labels. You can read there that it says you can copy the layout of the first label to the other labels on the page by clicking the button below. So when we click that, we now get 8 tickets set up on the page, and they're all looking good. We can go ahead and click the next step, Preview Your Labels. And now we can see the numbers showing up here on the ticket. It's only going to show me the first page. That's okay. But if we want to now apply the barcode, we will go back to our previous step. We'll select the placeholder that says ticket numbers. And we'll change this to barcode. We have to make sure that we update all the labels so they copy our barcode. Now I'm guessing that's going to be a little small. Let's see what happens when we preview our ticket. That's definitely too small. So let's go back. We'll select, make sure you select all of the text. And I'm going to guess maybe something like that 36 would look good, except maybe I want one less return before it. So I'll get rid of a return. I've got to be sure to update all labels. and preview again. Well, that's how I'd like my tickets to look. That looks fantastic. You can turn the non-printing characters off at this point if you really want to get a good idea of what they look like. When you're happy with your tickets, you go ahead and select Complete the Merge. And I don't want to print directly from my computer. I want to make a PDF document that I can send to my local print shop. So I'll select Edit Individual Labels, and I will merge all the records. It's going to leave 4 tickets blank because 8 doesn't divide into 300 evenly. But we can see we have 18 pages. Now 38 pages of tickets, all sequentially numbered with this very nice barcode on it. That's it. That's how you make sequentially numbered tickets for your own event. Feel free to experiment with different label sizes. I use the same process to also make badges for volunteers and staff and athletes so we knew who was who in the big arena. And I made a spreadsheet of all of the names and titles that they had. It was very easy to populate badges as well. So all sorts of great things that you can do with MailMerge to speed up event documents like this.